It happened again. I don't know what is happening I don't know what's happening. So I am not alone. I did a little poll with some of my reselling friends. From what I've been seeing on social media, it is just happening everywhere. We are all being hit with these Veros on eBay, and we're getting these slaps on the hand. This one was totally unwarranted, and I would like to lead with saying, because I will get some snarky comments like, well, it's your fault. Like, okay, the first two that I got, I've only ever received 2 of these in 15 years of selling on eBay. 2, I think that's pretty good. Those were for using stock photos. I talked about in the last video what I am doing to make sure this does not keep happening, because I said, it was like foreshadowing, friends. I said in that last video, I said, I'm fairly certain that this is going to keep happening. And I feel like this is happening more and more. Brands are just, they're just scraping, they're grasping for whatever they can. They view, which I don't understand. I feel like they view a lot of us as competition, and they don't want to have to compete with a bunch, you know, like thousands of resellers on eBay or Poshmark. Anywho, that's my 2-year-old. If you hear that, if you've seen the Come Thirst With Me video, you know what it's like with a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. So anywho, this one was totally unwarranted though, friends. So if you didn't know, if you get a Vero on eBay, it's usually them saying, hey, slap on the hand, you're doing something wrong. I've received 2 in 15 years, which I think is pretty good for using stock photos, and I talked about that in the last video. This one, on the other hand, I was going to fight, and I have fought, and so I wanted to tell you the outcome of this because it is not accurate. So basically, I had a Viore listing. I have a couple Viore listings on eBay. And I got a Vero saying that I wouldn't be able to list for a day, and it was going to be starting immediately because my Viore listing, basically Viore was saying that they believe that my item was counterfeit. And I said, nay, we're not doing that. I did not use a stock photo on this listing. And all of the Viore stuff that I currently have listed, a lot of it is sold. I purchased at an authorized sample sale. Basically meaning a sample sale in some instances, in a lot of instances, is a middleman that works with the brand. So this middleman store, it's a big, huge liquidation store that works with a lot of different brands. A brand like Viore or Tory Burch or, I don't know, Reformation will say, okay, we'll give you a couple thousand pieces of our items. We'll sell it to you at X price. You're allowed to sell this. We give you authorization to sell it. And then this middleman will sell it to me, you, Joe, Schmo, everybody at a price. They mark it up from what the brand sold it to them. So let's say Reformation says, we'll give you 30,000 pieces and you have to pay like $20 a piece. So then the middleman will say, okay, we're having a huge sample sale and dresses start at $50 a piece. They are also resellers, by the way, sample sale. Like, anyways, because sometimes I get the comment like, you know, you resellers suck. You guys are awful. I'm like, do you realize almost everywhere that you buy things, that even these huge companies are resellers? They're buying things in bulk from China, they're marking it up and reselling it to you. But I digress. I had that argument recently with a family member because she was like, you're such a pirate. She called me a pirate. This is a family member that called me a pirate. So I said, let me give you some pirate education, ma'am. And her mouth was on the floor. Sometimes people just need some education. They're ignorant. Anywho, I got this from a sample sale, so I immediately got on the chat. I am a huge advocate for using the chat function on any selling platform. I chat on Amazon, eBay. I wish Poshmark had a chatting system. If they did, I would. The Real, and ThreadUp. Every platform I sell on, I use the chat. I get instant help. I will go through the little prompts until I get an actual live person. At this point, it might be AI, but it seemed like it was a live person. So I told them, hey, you guys are saying I'm not going to be able to list tonight. That's not going to work. I was polite, but very firm. I have receipts and proof, and I have talked to the seller, the sample sale where I have purchased these Viore items. They are not counterfeit, and I do not want to be restricted for something I am not doing wrong. And I was very firm about that. And surprisingly, I thought I was gonna still have to go through the ban of like a day. It was basically saying I couldn't list for a day. If you are new here, I'm trying to work up my draft bank so that I'm a month ahead. So not listing for a day would put me like 20 to 40 listings behind. I think on this day I had like 30 that I was ready to draft up, and I just don't want to fall behind. And so surprisingly, friends, the chat agent, this is why I think it's a real person and not AI, because the person was like, all right, send me the proof, send me your receipts, let me see what I can do, and I will get back to you within like 2 to 3 hours. And I'm like, yeah, right. Oh, sure you are. Because I've gone through this where I've chatted with an agent and I don't hear back from them for like 24, 48, 72 hours. So I'm just like, you know what? This stinks. I'm doing everything right. I am not selling any counterfeit Viore. I have the proof. I always keep my receipts, you guys. And I did call the sample seller, the middleman, and say, you guys are authorized. And they're like, yeah, we've been doing this for years. And it's a huge company. Surprisingly, the eBay agent was like, I submitted your receipts and everything in the name of your supplier to my manager. We apologize for this. And they explained to me how the Vero system works, especially for when they're giving you a Vero for counterfeit items. They said sometimes it is actual people that work at the brand, like Viore or Skims, that are doing this and saying to eBay, like, look, these are our items, you know, these are our photos. But the agent was like, a lot of times the brand will hire a middleman to do it for them, or they'll use technology to flag listings that they think are fake, which I'm like, okay, well, their technology stinks, because I showed pictures of the tags and everything, but technology is not always perfect, right? So, so he or she, I think the agent's name was Chad. He was saying that if this ever happens in the future, always keep my receipts. They know I'm a trusted seller of 15 years, blah, 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 blah. They're so sorry this happens, but a lot of times they don't catch it. Or what did he say? That sometimes if I feel like it's inaccurate, to always speak up. That's what he said. Always speak up if you ever get a Vero and you think it's inaccurate, because a lot of times they're using third-party companies and the brand doesn't even know. So thank you for bringing this to our attention. And they removed the Vero. And so I was able to list that day and for all the days in between. So I make this video, another video, as a cautionary tale that if you guys are receiving Veros, especially for things like counterfeit things. Now, if you get a Vero and you know you're in the wrong, then of course don't speak up, you know, but I don't sell fake items. I knew that these Viore items were not fake. Like, for example, when I get the Veros for copywritten photos, because I'm using stock photos, I knew those 2 times I got them. I knew I did. Yeah. I used Skims stock photos because I told you guys, like, certain items, I feel like the buyer just needs to see it on the person. They need to see it on someone, especially shapewear, lingerie. It just helps to sell it. But since these brands are just handing out Veros like candy, we just need to be careful. So anytime this happens, I don't know that I'm going to make like dedicated videos like this, but I did want to make a dedicated video in this instance just so that you know to stand up for yourself. If you know you're not in the wrong, show your proof, get on the chat. With eBay, you can call them, you can chat, or you can email. If you got to use all 3, use all 3. The squeaky, what's the saying? The squeaky wheel gets the cake. That is not it. Something about being a squeaky wheel. The more you talk and stand up for yourself, the better treatment you get, basically, is what the analogy. What is it? You guys are probably screaming at the screen. So that's why I make these videos and I try to get them up pretty quickly so that you guys can learn from what's happening. And I've just been talking to a lot of my reselling friends and they are just getting Veros left and right. Another one is, it starts with a brand, a V. It's like V-A-R-L-E-Y, Varley. Is that how you pronounce it? Like 10 of my reselling friends got a Varley Vero within like a week. Like 10 different people saying that their items were counterfeit. Chico's. Oh man, Chico's is another one. Do not ever use their stock photos. I can't believe I've never gotten a Vero for Chico's. Chico's is a bread and butter brand for me, and I don't think, I could be wrong, I need to go look. I don't think I've ever gotten a Vero for using their stock photos, but they're a big one. And I did link in that last video, another reseller created a video on how she's creating her own stock photos. You need Canva and CapCut. I will link that video down below. Super helpful. That's what I've been doing to create more of like a stock photo vibe as opposed to using actual stock photos, because I am a strong believer that some items just sell for more money if you can see it on a body. And a lot of you agreed with me in that video. By the way, because my lisp is bugging me so much, I love you guys. If you did not see the video where the word was tooth, so many you guys, I ramble at the end of videos because I'm like, oh, there's probably like 10 people here. They're my oldies, but my goldies, they don't care. Like, nobody's really listening to me ramble. And then I go look at the comments, and like over 100 of you are commenting tooth. And I'm like, good Lord, I'm over here talking about how I'm toothless. I've got dentures. I need an implant. And there's so many people just listening to me talk about how my teeth are falling out. I love you guys. It's honestly, it's awesome. And it's also awesome that some of you are like, I wish I lived in LA. I feel like we would be friends. If you feel that way, we probably would be. As long as you're not a psycho, I would be your friend, okay? I love you guys. So thank you so much to so many of you that stick around till the end. Yeah, so cautionary tale, friends. Be careful. Stick up for yourself. If you know you're not doing anything wrong, speak up, because I cannot believe, I literally thought, I'm not going to be able to list. This stinks. There's no way he's going to get back to me in time. And they did. I don't know if they just are tired of me talking to them. I'm literally chatting them like once a week. eBay and ThredUp, I'm probably talking to their customer service at least once a week. Currently, I'm just catching you guys up at this point. ThredUp, I am sending them, I've really upped my ThredUp selling. We talk a lot about this in the reselling group, which I always link down below, but I've been sending them like 1 to 3 boxes a week. So I've really been upping my selling there, and I am sending them very, very expensive items, you guys. I'm talking Gucci bags, Louis Vuitton bags, obscure designer clothing. Like, I'm sending a lot of that stuff to them because it's been selling really well there for me. And I have 2 boxes that I dropped off at UPS. All of the items that I send to them that are very expensive, I keep an itemized list. I film myself packaging the box, because if they ever lose anything, they will pay you out what it was expected to sell for. You have to show proof that you were sending that to them, and you have to fight. Like, you really have to go through, I had to go through like 3 people one time when they lost one of my very expensive bags. But I got paid out I got paid out what they would have sold the item for. So that's a whole other story time video. But anyways, I was chatting with them today because I dropped off 2 UPS packages. I got them scanned. I got the receipts, and they're not tracking. So I'm sorry. They're tracking when you go to UPS tracking. My phone is blowing up. This is what happens when you have 50 jobs. Your phone's always blowing up. They're tracking on UPS's site, but if you've ever sent a box to ThredUp, once you send it, it should say like the box is in transit, and it's not saying that. It's just saying that I have 2 labels that I printed that I haven't sent to them yet. And I'm like, hold on. Those boxes I'm sending you guys are worth thousands of dollars. I need you guys to update your website and know that these boxes are going to be there in a couple days, because I know inevitably ThredUp will be like, well, it shows in our system that you never shipped it. And I'm like, no. Here's the scanned receipt. It's tracking on UPS. What's up with you guys? So they fixed that. So you guys, you have to really stay on top of this stuff. You really do. Like, I feel like some resellers talk about it, but there is so much back end work to being a successful reseller that the majority of people don't talk about. The videos that get the most clicks and views are the videos where you're like, come thrift with me, and I found a $2 million bag for $5, and like all the fun stuff. That's great, but there's so many nuanced back end like bookkeeping crap that you have to do in this job to be successful, to make a profit. It's just, you got to stay on top of it, and you got to speak up for yourself. So I don't know. Hopefully this was helpful and not too complainy. I make these videos to be helpful. I think you guys enjoy them. Surprisingly, these videos with me in my tiny office, just sharing with you what's happening, are like becoming some of my most popular videos on this channel. So I'll keep making them. I thought they sounded like a little too preachy, but you guys said you like the real life stuff. This is what's going down, friends. So I'll keep sharing it if you are finding it helpful and you enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe. We hit 20K. I love you guys.